What's going on, Misfits? Hunter and Sherb back from Misfit HQ for another tip. Today we're talking about the split jerk, and more specifically, we're trying to give you, the athlete, some things to look for if you're in the gym kind of coaching yourself. The Olympic lifts are super difficult to kind of get really good at unless you have a competent coach looking at you in real time, giving you that feedback, or you're able to film yourself and really know what to look for. So we're going to show you a couple things to look for in the split jerk. The three things, we're going to start with the feet, then we're going to talk about the dip, and then finally the bar path, which if the first two went well, that third one should be a no-brainer. So for the feet are always the right place to start when you're evaluating any proficiency or technical fault in the Olympic lifts. That'll give you a really good idea of what you're looking at. So with our foot position, the starting position, we've talked about this a little bit before, somewhere probably not really any wider than your shoulder width, but this is going to depend on body proportions. This is where Sherb likes to sit. It's where he's able to get the most power while still maintaining an upright torso. Now with the feet, what we're looking for is that full foot to be on the ground. And as an athlete, you should be able to feel that weight distribution in your feet to about like 60-40 is what I'll tell athletes as a starting point. So 60% of the weight in the back of their foot, 40 in the front, but the whole foot is still in contact. So an easy drill for this is, sure, stand right there and let yourself rock forward until you almost fall forward. Okay, so you got like 100% in your toes, no good. Do the same thing backward. Okay, we're falling backward. Now you find that midpoint. Great, and that's where we should be initiating the dip from, all right? The other thing to look for when you're evaluating maybe your own video is whether or not your feet are coming up, either your heels or your toes throughout that dip. And if that's the case, don't do that. Fix that. Keep that whole foot nice and flat on the ground. Second thing we're looking at is the verticality of the dip. What we're looking for is those knees to drive out, which is creating space for the hips to sit straight down over the heel, all right? And this is pretty easy on a camera. You can either look at the barbell, so if Sherb, why don't you grab that barbell, put it in the front rack. We can just take a look at this point on the barbell and see as he dips and stands, does that go in a straight line? If it pitches forward or backward, a little less common, then we know we need to fix the verticality of that dip. Again, we're looking for him to be able to just dip straight down, no change in his torso angle whatsoever. He's just pushing his knees out and sitting his hips straight down over his heels. Now, if we've got the feet and we've got the dip, then our bar path should set us up for success. One kind of neat thing about the split jerk is if you ever look at high-level Olympic weightlifters, the bar path of that split jerk generally will be a vertical dip, and then as they go to extend and finish and receive that bar has actually traveled behind them. And that's because if the bar is resting in front of his center of gravity when it starts, well, with the heavy load overhead, if it's away from that center of gravity, he's going to lose it forward. So a cue for athletes that I sometimes like to give is a little bit of an overcorrection, but it's throw the bar behind you. Think about as you're jerking, as you're pushing that bar overhead, throw it back behind you a little bit, and odds are that's going to put you in the right spot. So Sherb's going to rack his bar. I'm going to pay attention to the feet, hips, and then I'm going to give him the cue. I want you to try to put that bar behind you in the jerk. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. Great. He recovers, and hopefully, you've got an app like Coach's Eye. Get another one. We can see that bar is ending slightly behind the plane in which it started, okay? So split jerk tips, especially for you athletes maybe training by yourself or you don't have a coach who's able to give you those real-time corrections, always start with the feet. Whole foot stays flat on the ground, and that's pretty much a constant throughout all the Olympic lifts. Whole foot and that weight distribution should enable a nice vertical dip, making sure that torso angle remains nice and upright, and then cueing yourself, get that bar back behind you. That's going to assist in maintaining a nice bent back knee in the receiving position and also facilitate you being able to drive under the bar rather than heave and pray to catch it overhead. Give it a shot. We'll see you in the next one.